traffic light turns green.
I don't hate that feature.
Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60, and on this one we're putting a dash cam in an F15 X5. Now, Mark, the owner of this vehicle, he likes to do things properly, and that's why I thought it'd be a good opportunity to film a good way of installing a dash cam in an X5. Now, we've actually had the car apart and started to do a little bit of research on what we want to do. Unfortunately, the final install is not going to happen today, but we'll get most of it done. What Mark has decided to do, he's got the standard fuse panel from the boot here, and he's actually ordered from BMW pins for this little section here. Actually, I can't take it out, but he's going to pin in a positive wire. These have a solid bus that run through, hopefully you can see down this bottom section there, and then he'll be able to pop a fuse in and actually use a fuse holder for the dash cam power source. Now that's probably over the top, but I thought it was going to be probably the best way to do it so the dash cam has its own fuse. But for now, we're going to do a bit more of a quicker install and probably a bit more relevant to a lot of people. The camera that Mark has gone for is a Jomise K7. It is just a single dash cam, forward facing, but it does have an inbuilt screen. It records at 1600p at 30 FPS, or, if my memory serves correctly, 60 frames per second at 1080p. Looks like it comes with a standard power socket, 1 amp or 2.1 amp, and hopefully it's got a USB cable. It does, and that's what we're going to use today since we're not going to hardwire it in completely. So the camera itself actually it does look quite good. Definitely feels solid there. It does just stick to the windscreen, and it's supposed to have a pretty cool app. Now, because we can't actually get the power or the separate fuse in there today, what we're going to do for ease, and I guess it's probably going to be a little bit more relevant, we're going to install it and just use the power socket in the front of the car for now. Hopefully you can see. But yeah, we'll mount the camera up here, and that way you'll be able to see the screen and do any work on it. I think, actually, we might double check with Mark which side we're going to go on, but it's probably going to go this side. We'll run the cable along the roof line, down the A-pillar, and then over and into this socket here. Now that's a pretty easy way to install it. The only reason he's not going to leave it in there is he does want to be able to shut this when it's not being used, and obviously if we've got the power socket in there, he won't be able to do that. And if you are interested in seeing the full hardwired version once we get it done, just leave a comment down below and I'll make sure I put a link to the update video for that. Alright, but for now, we've got to feed this supplied wiring all the way around. Okay guys, so we're going to power the camera up for the first time. I've got the camera here. The power socket is just there. You want to plug it in, Marcus? And we'll just see what boot time's like and what the go is. Alright, it says welcome. And I believe, according to the instructions, it should come up with a QR code that we can scan to get the app, which will make it much easier to control and get data off it. There it is. Okay, so we'll scan that code.
Activate your device via app.
Activate your device via app. Cool. Hi, dashcam. So let's see what the process is for actually controlling it. Alert. Please connect the phone to the Wi-Fi of the dashcam, which is done. Add device. Activate now.
New Wi-Fi password.
Right, I guess that'll stop randoms from getting it. We've got app connection up on the camera.
I'm just giving it a new password.
Memory card capacity is insufficient. Please replace it.
Okay, I guess we'll have to format the SD card.
We just need to format that memory card because it's going to be partition fun, like weirdly. So
Okay, right. We got format. I'm going to format the card now. That might shut it up. It's formatted with 2 T's. App in connection. Hey, so there we have. Pretty good.
Well, it kind of wants us to align it, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, have you decided where you want it? Okay, so we have the camera installed. We've run the wire along the top, down the A-pillar, underneath, and over to the power socket for now. So we're just going to take it for its first drive and see what sort of information we get out of it, see if it's any good, and hopefully get some test footage to review when we get back. One thing we have now, so it's gone to sleep, one thing we have noticed, the app connects really quickly, but I will show you guys that very shortly. Well, we've just got back from the first drive, and the biggest thing that was a bit of a surprise was the traffic light notifications. Now, it's hopefully we'll be able to get some footage of it somewhere. So here we are, sitting on our phones, which you absolutely should not be doing.
Traffic light turns green.
That I can put in here, but it's not, I guess it's not a feature that you should be using because you should be paying attention. But if you happen to be setting your air conditioning or adjusting your satellite navigation when you sat at the traffic lights, it actually warns you and lets you know that the traffic lights have gone green and to get going. And I think that's a pretty good feature because I have been caught out when I was much younger and much more foolish, where I might be doing something while we're at the traffic lights and not actually paying attention. So that is quite a good feature.
Good for both young and old.
Especially old. We were pretty impressed with that. Now Mark's going to try and connect his phone to it now. We'll try and show you the speed. So the car is running, and the camera is basically how it is when you're not driving. So it told shit.
I was still connected because I think the phone itself is still connected to the Wi-Fi access point, so I'm going to disconnect completely.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll go, say for example, we're still at home, jump into the car, connect to it.
Yep.
Wi-Fi is connected, switch to the app, click it, we're in.
That is
hit play, live
really
cam
cool.
comes up. If you go to playback, there it is, and you can cycle through, and it stops, like it jumps to it pretty fast.
What are these events?
So that says emergency.
Yep.
I don't. Must have something must have triggered it. I don't know what that was. That's a bit odd.
It's almost like someone did an emergency stop.
Pew pew.
Emergency braking. Oh my god!
30 seconds.
And then you hit download. So that's 30 seconds downloading.
That's not too bad.
It's not horrific.
No, that's probably as good as the Blackvue app. Much better than other cheaper cameras that we've played with in the past.
That's it.
Okay, cool.
Oh my god!
And that's on the car now. That's on the phone.
So that part that we started the recording was the start of the emergency event.
Right.
That's why it was. So we'll go back to that. So I think that's the event there.
Yes. Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, look, all in all, using it so far, the camera actually functions very, very quickly, much quicker than any others, and I'd say it's even quicker than the Blackvues. But the most important thing, and something we haven't had a chance to review yet, is the picture quality. So we're going to get a little bit more footage driving around, and we'll try and get some footage at night time, and we'll have a closer look at the footage later on, and you'll see us, hopefully, in the future. So, we are now 24 hours after you last saw us on the clip that you would have just seen. We did some nighttime driving last night, and Mark's done a little bit of driving around town with the camera today. And to be honest, the start of this video, you've probably guessed it, but we weren't expecting fireworks and lollipops with this thing. Like, it is an expensive camera, and a lot of the cheaper generic Chinese cameras, they're more expensive ones, basically just have good picture quality, and that's what I was expecting from this. I was really, and I even mentioned it in yesterday's video, I was expecting it to be comparable footage to a Blackvue. Now Declan, the gentleman that you may have seen in yesterday's video, he does have the top of the range Blackvue in his car, and I think he only got that 6 or 8 months ago. Yeah. So it's like the best thing you can buy from Blackvue, and I thought it'd be good to have along for testing yesterday because his benchmark is set fully high, and he was very impressed with both the picture quality and how fast the app was. In fact, he said multiple times the app with this Jomise is much faster than the Blackvue app. And I've got to say, Mark is
doesn't disappoint.
No, it doesn't. Mark is a programmer, so he's like an actual professional nerd, and you've been very impressed with how easy it is to use. And one thing that Mark pointed out, which I probably didn't understand enough, is the power of the Wi-Fi signal on the camera is genuinely impressive. I want to cut to a little bit, well, a little bit, it was about half an hour ago, where we were playing with the Wi-Fi signal to see if you can successfully get footage off the camera without being too close to the car, because Mark's other car, his old dash camera, you've got a big issue with how slow the connection is, and it's gotten to the point where you just won't even bother getting footage off. No. So it has the smart functionality, but it's so crappy to use. If he wants to get footage off, he's got to manually do it with the SD card. It's just quicker. Anyway, we'll sneak to, it was about half an hour ago when we were pulling footage off from all the way in the house. All right, we'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, so just a quick demo on the signal. So the X5 is a couple of cars away. We've got Mark here, and we're just going to test what it's like reviewing footage when you're not near the car.
So unlocking the car.
That will turn the
power on.
Power on.
Yep.
So the camera will take a few seconds to boot.
We'll go into the dash camera. See if it's there. It's already there.
That's connected straight away.
That's connected straight away.
Right.
And so
what does it playback footage like?
There's live view at the moment. We go to playback. And let's find a time when I was actually driving.
So that's for getting footage off the camera when you're 10 meters away from the car. That's pretty impressive, and it's outside. Mm. That's really, really good. Have you found any other features with that overnight?
No, just that obviously the GPS comes up.
Ah, cool.
Straight away, it obviously picks it up. So as you recycle through footage, it shows you where on the map it was.
Ah, perfect. Well, I'm really surprised it connects out here.
It's quite a distance from the car. Most of those Wi-Fi things, they literally need to be, the phone needs to be inside the camera for it to work properly. Yeah. Whereas this is quite a distance and it works fine.
So yeah, as you can see there, when we were inside the house, we did have a look through both the nighttime footage and the daytime footage. Something that we have done, we've been slack with, we did not clean the windscreen. So the windscreen is, you might not be able to pick it up here, but it needs to be cleaned. We should have cleaned it for this test. Sorry that we haven't. And in the nighttime footage, you can see some slight reflections on the screen. But aside from that, the way that the high dynamic range works on the camera is also genuinely impressive. Again, I think it's something you get with the Blackvue. Declan said he couldn't really tell the difference between this and the Blackvue footage, and I'm pretty sure this does have the new Sony IMX sensor anyway. However, you've got to be honest, a lot of the Chinese companies, and this is not directed at Jomise at all, but a lot of the companies I've seen, they will say they've got certain components inside, and then they don't actually have those components. But yeah, this picture quality does seem really good. The high dynamic range during the day, hopefully I've got some clips I can put up here where it's actually got a much better high dynamic range than the GoPro, and you can see, hopefully you can see on the screen, the sky actually looks way more blue, and you can actually see the clouds, where the GoPro, the sky just sort of blows out. And we are using a GoPro Hero 9, a camera that costs 3 times more than this dash cam. So yeah, so basically the high dynamic range during the day is really good, and again at night time, even on the highway, so where we're driving down an unlit highway and we've got cars coming to us, and the way it sorts out to dim around the headlights, but then actually lighting up the side of the road where there's no lighting at all, and you can actually see down the side of the highway. I was really, really impressed with that. And again, once you're actually in town where you've got a few street lights and a few things like that, the nighttime power of this camera is really impressive. Even, I mean, not that it's ever going to be any help for an accident, but the way it can pick up like shadowed areas in gutters and in the car, behind cars, I was very, very impressed. The quality of the camera in this thing is as good as a Blackvue. Now, the thing that we weren't expecting, so I was sort of expecting those sort of qualities. The thing I weren't expecting, Mark definitely would. Mark hates gimmicky things. Like his whole life is built around app design, simplifying, streamlining processes, really. That's what you do. That's why he didn't want to look at this camera from the driver's seat. That's why it's on the left side. And you can't see it from the driver's seat. However, the feature that has blown us away is the traffic light awareness. Now, I mentioned it earlier in the video after the first test drive. We were quite surprised. And I sort of said, I've been caught out where I've been even just setting up the sat nav or changing a song on the radio, and you don't see that the traffic lights go green. And we even noticed today that you don't, when you sit at the traffic lights, you don't spend the whole time looking at the light. Well, you look, oh, someone's looking over there. What's that car doing? Is that car going to have a crash? So you do, your attention span does wander. but the camera doesn't, and it's quicker.
It's pretty quick.
It notices the lights change before we do. I thought that was amazing. Now, another feature it does have the traffic awareness feature, where it's supposed to tell you if you're not keeping up with traffic. It's the same, exactly the same concept, I guess, with the lights, and it's if you're stuck in a traffic jam, you don't notice the car in front moving forwards.
Yep.
That does work. However,
it's a little trigger happy.
Yeah, it's a little trigger happy. In Mark's garage, he's got a server cabinet, because he's a nerd, and the camera actually thinks the server cabinet is a vehicle. So we have turned that feature off, but I guess if you're driving in city traffic and stop-start stuff frequently, it's probably going to be useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact it picks up...
Experience may vary.
Yeah, the fact it picks up large white objects is a bit... How you going? But the traffic light thing was nearly perfect. The only time it didn't work perfectly was when we had a turn right arrow instead of the main traffic lights. Obviously, it couldn't differentiate what lane we were in and whether we were going straight or turning right. But yeah, look, pretty happy with the camera. It was about $200, wasn't it? 200 US. Hopefully we'll get some views out of this video. But yeah, very happy with it. If you've got any questions about Jomise before you make the purchase, hit us up in the comments below. I'll always try and reply to these tech review type videos. If you're from Jomise and you like this video, send me an email. Send me another camera. I wouldn't mind one for my own car. In fact, one feature we would like, or you would like on this, is to be able to monitor it remotely.
Yes.
And there is a function in the app, 4G, or somewhere I saw 4G monitoring.
Like a 4G box or something.
A 4G module. So if you could get 4G monitoring like you can with the Blackvue, that would pretty much make this perfect. And maybe a rear view camera as well.
Yeah, dual cam would be cool.
But for the money, it's pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
Alright guys, we'll end off there. Thank you very much for watching a 0 to 60 tech review. We will catch you on the next one. You have to say peace.
Peace.